Hello.
Hey, what's up?
My name is Robbie, and well, right now I'm about to do my video profile for this lab.
Just do it, man.
There's nothing wrong with me explaining what I'm about to do before I do it.
Yeah, there is.
Robbie Shapiro is arguably the most divisive character in Victorious. To some, he's an awkward teen that just can't catch a break. But to others, he's a perverted jerk that doesn't deserve to be a part of the main cast.
Where'd you get those standees of cat?
Brought him from home.
Why do you have...
I'm a tutor and I don't like to talk about things I do at my house.
I've heard countless people say that Robbie is sexist, chauvinistic, and a total creep, but hardly any of these people have ever stopped and asked, why? Why is Robbie Shapiro like this? What ruins Robbie's reputation among his reputable and relatively well-respected peers? Ridiculously random and rambunctious behavior? Or his repugnant recalcitrant right-hand man, Rex? Are you ready? Let's analyze. There's not enough people with originality, so here I am to save the day, Jayniac.
Sometimes I have trouble not crying.
Whether people love him or hate him, one thing that everyone can agree on is the fact that Robbie Shapiro is unbelievably talented. He's shown skills in writing, singing, playing a multitude of instruments, ham-boning, operating theater technology, and most notably, ventriloquism. More on that later. Robbie is so multi-talented that, well, if he was a bit more confident in his capabilities, he'd probably even give Andre a run for his money. But it's this lack of self-esteem that, more often than not, causes a lot of Robbie's problems. So of course, the big question is, what causes his lack of self-esteem? Now, it's likely that it may be a combination of his poor health.
Isn't that a medicine that helps people stop wetting the bed?
No, that's Pizol and it doesn't work very well. So I hear.
His bad luck,
Oh, is this a real human skull?
Yeah, give it so I can put it back.
No, I'm looking at
Robbie,
it.
give it to me.
Jane,
Robbie, stop.
just
No,
let
we
me
don't
see
have
it.
time.
Let me see it.
and his cluelessness.
I went to the playground. I got off my bike and I yelled, "Hey kids, who wants some free ice cream?" And then their mothers chased me into an alley and beat me with sticks.
All of which often result in him getting ridiculed, ignored, or, worst of all, abused. Has anyone noticed how often Robbie Shapiro gets injured or threatened throughout the show's run? What's most notable, though, is that more often than not, the people abusing Robbie are female. Whether it's Trina threatening him to give her a good review in Jade Dumps Beck, Tori electrocuting him after his horribly failed attempt at fixing her pear phone in The Worst Couple, or Jade literally anything she does to him, it's very clear that Robbie's relationship with women he considers his closest friends isn't very positive. Unless their name is Cat Valentine. But this doesn't end with his friends. In Tori Gets Stuck, Robbie says,
When I was 7 years old, I took my favorite little toy car to school. A scary bully made me swallow it.
She was real scary. Remember how she kept whooping you with her ponytail?
They were braids.
the reason why this is so important to understanding Robbie's character is because, along with being abused, Robbie gets emasculated so many times throughout the show that I genuinely lost count. Seriously, he gets put in the women's prison and locked up. And in Walkstar, Tori asks about his bat mitzvah money, when she should be asking about his bar mitzvah money. Bat mitzvahs are for girls. This constant emasculating could very well have a lot to do with not only his lack of self-esteem, but also his deeply negative and objectifying attitude towards women, that he regularly projects through his puppet Rex. Speaking of Rex...
Hey, Trina.
What?
You want to know my two favorite things about you?
Trina!
As I mentioned earlier, Robbie's most notable talent is ventriloquism. Almost everywhere he goes, his puppet Rex is with him. and usually Rex is the one calling the shots between the two of them.
That's the kind of funk America wants to see. People caught on video. Put that on your stupid blog if you want it to be popular.
That's just mean.
It's news, man. Come on, Rob. You want to be a loser the rest of your life?
We're well aware of the fact that Rex can't move or speak without Robbie. So Rex isn't some sort of supernatural being, he's just a puppet that's being controlled by Robbie. Which means that every single sexist comment, every hateful joke, and every negative remark he makes about Robbie is actually being said by Robbie. You see, Robbie projects a lot of his negative traits through Rex, likely because he doesn't feel confident enough to say these things himself. Mind you, a lot of what he's saying is straight up not okay. I'm not justifying his behavior, I'm just analyzing it. Robbie feels emasculated, so he projects a hypermasculine persona through Rex. Rex has more followers on the Slap, Rex goes on dates with Northridge girls, and he speaks with an urban accent. Why does Rex talk like that? He even gets offended when people call him a puppet.
Nobody ever suspects the puppet.
I thought you hated that word.
It's okay if I say it.
Is Robbie's assumption that being an ethnic minority would make him cooler? Just a thought. Rex is portrayed as much savvier and more confident than Robbie, to the point where he insults Robbie at almost every given opportunity for not being like him. Robbie is expressing his insecurities out loud through Rex. Because Robbie associates Rex with all of his self-esteem, Robbie loses his mind anytime Rex goes missing, gets damaged, or quote-unquote dies. When Robbie has to get rid of Rex, he begins to hallucinate about him. But another interesting thing about Rex is that he's usually willing to call Robbie out for being a creep. The most notable example of Robbie's creepy behavior being in Begging on Your Knees, where Robbie basically admits to spying on Tori. So obviously, Robbie is aware that he has some creepy tendencies, but why would Robbie spend so much time outside of someone else's house? Is there something wrong with his?
My mom says Rex and I can go to Yerba, but there has to be an adult chaperone.
I thought your mom moved out.
She's giving me one more chance.
Not that much information is given about Robbie's home life. He mentions being Jewish in Walkstar and stage fighting, but apparently he celebrates Christmas instead of Hanukkah. So maybe the people in his family aren't practicing Jews? We don't know. But what we do know is that Robbie has a very dependent relationship with his mother. According to Robbie, she washes things for him, prevents him from eating certain foods, and even pops his pimples for him. Maybe the reason she left was because of his dependency. And if you think his relationship with his mother is bad, listen to what he says about his father.
My father's embarrassed of me. You know, sometimes I think I disappoint my father too. And every time I try to bring it up...
Talk and sing!
No wonder the guy has such low self-esteem. And if his grandparents are anything to go by...
Maury, turn up the heat! No! Maury! Robbie is screaming at me!
I'm hungry!
Turn up the heat!
No!
Why does he do that to me?
Maybe male chauvinism and toxic masculinity run in the family. Hear me out. It would seem that the women in the Shapiro family are expected to do things for the men, but when the women ask for help, the men aren't willing to. Is this because of an outdated mindset or traditionalist ideals? We'll never know for sure, but it would explain some of Robbie's objectifying comments towards women through Rex. Unfortunately for Robbie, he isn't treated any better at school. When any of his friends are injured, everyone tries to help them. But when Robbie is injured, it's always treated as a joke.
And have it come right Nerd down!
This becomes even more frustrating in the Sam and Cat episode, #TheKillerTunaJump. This is so sad, because Robbie likely sees his friends as the only true family he has. After all, he would have known the gang sans Tori for about a year or two. They obviously care enough to keep him as a part of their friend group, despite him not being the coolest of people, but they generally show a degree of indifference towards his problems. except for Cat Valentine. And if you want a relationship video about Cat and Robbie, let me know in the comments below. I once said that Jade West was the deepest character in Victorious, but after making this analysis video, I'm at a toss-up. Robbie Shapiro is definitely going through some understated trauma, and more often than not, he gets underappreciated by everyone around him. Remember that I'm not justifying his bad behavior, I'm just analyzing it. I've made 17 analysis videos for this year, and I need a vacation. My Victorious cover album comes out on all major music platforms this Christmas, but you can pre-order it on iTunes right now. Be sure to follow me on Spotify and Instagram, and if you're subscribed to this channel, be sure to subscribe to my backup channel, Jayniac Jr., in case anything happens to this one. And please be sure to check out the merchandise. All the links are in the description below. Until then, I'll leave you with this.
How much it would mean to spend this Christmas time with you. So if you feel it coming on this special day, just trust your heart, don't let your head get in the way. 'Cause it's Christmas and the start of something new. Oh, it's Christmas, and I hope you feel it too. Candy canes and mistletoe, Jack Frost nipping at your nose, but all of it means nothing without you.